Everyone, well, I'm back, and I thought I would share with you what I recently just bought. I kind of splurged a little bit because I was, my parents went out of town this weekend, so I was kind of stuck in the house and got a little carried away with my book buying. Although I did manage to put some books back and whittled it down to 4 books. And then, Artie's bookstore, as I mentioned in past videos, was doing a sale this month on buy one sci-fi book, get one free. So I totally took advantage of that all this month. And I think I need to take a break from book buying. And the good news is I finally have a job, so it's not like I'm gonna go broke. It's the good news. So I've noticed that this is something I kind of figured out today. It's something I've always known, but it really was a little prominent today when I bought my books. That a lot of times there are booktubers. There are a lot of booktubers I enjoy watching, but there are a handful of booktubers, and this is nothing against the other booktubers. It's just all about my taste, and that there are a handful of booktubers that I kind of gravitate towards buying their books. And I will go through periods where I want to buy a lot of the books that they've recommended in their videos, or at least talked about. So that happened, so I noticed that I did that kind of today. First though, I'm going to show you the books that I got from the bookstore throughout the month, these past few weeks. And most of these are fantasy, with one exception, I think. I don't think I've bought any fantasy. I think I bought all fantasy today, so I'll show you that one. So the one non-fantasy book I bought was this one, Little Dorrit, which is a Dickens novel. I don't know much of. I read the back. It's he says it's a satire on poverty, riches, and imprisonment. It's about this guy, Arthur Clennam. He's interested in this girl. And it's excuse me. Sorry, my dog went to come into my room, and he was having trouble pushing the door open. The girl's mom is a seamstress, and oh wait, oh no, the girl is Arthur's mom's seamstress, and she says she's nothing but trouble. And I guess it partly has to do with the fact that her father has been imprisoned for debt. So that's all I know. This is probably the mini-series, either movie or mini-series inspired cover. I think it's a mini-series, which I've seen commercials for because I watch BBC, and there's shows, and I have a couple BBC miniseries like North and South. It was a PBS. It was a PBS edition, and it's just I've been wanting to collect a lot of the I have a bind up of Dickens, a lot of his novels, but I want to get some of the ones that like this, so I can take them with me when I go traveling, because the bind up is this big, huge, those fancy Barnes and Noble books, which is very pretty, and I like collecting those. Which, by the way, that's one of the times where I actually will collect books, the fancier editions of books. But most of the time I get I don't care if it's pretty or not, as long as it's affordable. But the problem with those, of course, is you can't travel with those. You could, but it would be very difficult because those are really big, and you would probably only just want to bring that. as far as reading material. So I bought this. This was the only non-sci-fi fantasy book that I ended up buying because they had like quite a few Dickens novels, and I almost bought today, not at the same place, but today I almost bought an Ernest Hemingway novel because my aunt had recommended him to me, and she was saying how you should read his work. I wasn't sure if I would like this Ernest Hemingway, but she said he's a really good writer, and she also said that he reminds her of my dad in a lot of ways, except for my dad's not as much of a player as this guy. My dad's actually, he's been happily married to my mom, so. Okay, so the other books I got from this sale is, so I have seen R.A. Self-Taught in a lot of Barnes & Noble and Books A Million and Borders when Borders was still in existence, and so I hadn't really. So I had, this was R.A. Self-Taught was an author I had seen a lot. And finally, I saw these at the used bookstore. This is, from the Forgotten Realm series, which is like a series of, it's kind of like Robin Hobb's books, where she writes a whole bunch of books in she'll write a trilogy, and then she'll write another trilogy, and they're all interlinked. And Brandon Sanderson does that too, although I don't think his are as interlinked as Robin Hobb's are. I mean, maybe they are, I don't know, but I watched a video where this woman was talking about how you should read the Brandon Sanderson books in his universe, in this one particular universe, his Cosmere universe. And she said the little connections aren't as big. The spoilers and little connections between each of the books aren't that big. So, that's what I should have looked for. I forgot about. I should have looked for his other. That's what I should look for. I should look for Brandon Sanderson's his other books, like Elantris and stuff. But I didn't. I totally forgot. But anyway, so I saw this. So this is one of the the Hunter Blades trilogy, the Thousand Orcs, and let's see, it is a dark elves actually. So 1 dark elf, 2 enchanted blades, 1 unknown enemy, and a horde of invaders. So okay, so that other fantasy book I thought might be connected to this universe. So this is the first book. This is the second book in the trilogy, and I just realized. Let me see if I can find it here. So this actually, yeah, it's the same character. So this actually might be one of the part of it. Yeah, this. It might be like a standalone part of the same universe. Because it's the same character as in these two. So, yeah. And of course the name is hard for me to say. That's the problem with fantasy novels, is unless you hear it said out loud, you're not going to know how to say it. Which is, really funny, because on Facebook, on one of my Facebook groups, they were talking about that. They asked the question about, are there character names that because you didn't hear it out loud, you realized you were mispronouncing the name the whole time. So that might happen with this character. But yeah, it's the same character, I think. So maybe it's a standalone novel, but in the same universe, because it doesn't have a number. It could be one of those times where they forgot to put the number in the book. But well, let me see. Let me see something. Let me see. There's always a list in some of these other series. Okay, so I know. Oh, well, the problem is these aren't the first. Yeah, the problem is this particular trilogy is the last trilogy in the series. But like I said, it was a deal. It was you buy one fantasy book, you get, you get another one free, so it's like, screw it. Let's see, where is it? What's this one called? Sea of Swords. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, of course, Paths of Darkness series. It's, the second to the last one. Damn it. I hate when that happens. This problem with used bookstores. They take donated books, so there's no guarantee you're gonna get it. And this was, I mean, and this particular sale was one of these things where it was like, it's hard for me to find these kind of books there, You don't really find these type of books at that store. So it was like, so along with this one, Sea of Swords, that was the day I also bought this one, The Stand, Stephen King's The Stand. This is when I was reading the book, I wasn't sure about buying this one. I was hesitant to buy it because I'm just kind of starting to get into sci-fi, and this is more sci-fi. And it's like biological sci-fi, I guess. Maybe that's what you would call it, where like, there's, like a survivor kind of story where there's a disease that wipes out everybody. And the survivors have to, figure out how to handle things. It's called The Stand. Oh, and it's a complete uncut edition, which is really awesome because, And then I also got from there the book 6 of the Dark Tower series, and I already have up to and this one I was okay that I got this one because I already have the first 5 books. So this is the 6th book. And so I don't really know what happens, and like I said, oh, so, okay, so it looks, so Susanna has been, one of the characters, the main female character, Susanna, has been possessed, I guess. And this one actually seems to, by the summary description, seems like there's a lot more time travel in this one. So, and I'm actually going to start over and reread the whole series because I have spaced those books, and when I read them, it's, there's so much time in between each book that, I feel like I need to start from the beginning. Even though one of the booktubers I really love watching, she had said, when I commented to her about this, she said, no, you don't have to do that, But I feel like I should. I feel bad if I don't, so. I almost actually bought a Stephen King today, but I was like, you know what, let me work on the ones I have. Okay, so, next I also got from there, I don't know if this was a book that I got during this month. Actually, no, I don't think this was one of the ones I got this month, but this is yeah, because I think I showed this one to you guys in a video before, The Fallen Kingdom by Elizabeth, or maybe I just talked about it, I don't know, but this is the 3rd book in the Falconer trilogy. So which is really awesome because you might come across a book in a series, but you don't always come across the other books in the series if you need the other books. So this was nice because I got all three in hardback editions, all of them in the same hardback at this used bookstore at different times though, which is really nice. This is, like I said, this is the final book. And it's like this girl who she's kind of like a vampire slayer, except for she slays fairies. She hunts fairies. And I started reading the first book a little bit. And it's, you know, so far it's interesting. It's hard for me to tell until I get into the book more. And because I'm kind of like in between books at the moment, like there's so many books that I want to read right now. And, you know, there's also books where my mom's mentioned, I just got that book for you and you still haven't read it. So I feel like I need to read the book my mom, you know, one of the books that my mom just got me, and my friend also ordered me a book. So it's like, it's like I don't know what book to settle on, because there's also books I've had for a long time that I need to get on and read. So I'm kind of having a problem. And then, you know, while my parents were away, the house was kind of quiet. So I was like, I want to turn on the TV, but the TV is very distracting, so I can't have the TV on while I'm reading, or I won't focus on my reading. So I spent most of this weekend, you know, on my computer. So, and I can't, it's hard to multitask. You know, I've read a little bit, because I always, you know, I bring home a book with me everywhere, so while I was waiting for class to start, I read a little bit then, and there was some times where I had the TV on, and you know, and like I was done listening to a booktube video, so I read a little bit of my books. But anyway, so I don't remember if I actually showed this to you guys or not. But yes, this is the final book in the Falconers trilogy. So I was very happy that I was able to get all those books there. And then this was another time when I was able to get all of the books in the series, which was really awesome. And actually, it kind of almost happened with the Stormlight Archives, but as well. But I had already pre-ordered the first book in the Stormlight Archives, because every time I went to check, it wasn't there. And I think I told you guys the story if you watched the video, where like I kept looking for Way of Kings, but it kept not showing up, so I finally was like, you know what, Mom, why don't you just order it for me on Amazon? You know, and I wasn't even sure if she would do it for me. You know, I was like, but she did. And then the other day, I went to there, and of course, not only was Way of Kings there, but it was the nice floppy large paperback edition. Just like, of course, after my mom buys me the other one, I get it in the mail, the other one shows up. It's like, really? But, I mean, it wouldn't have, you know, even though I don't worry about all my books in a series matching that much, I still can, you know, it still is a little weird for me when I see books that in series that aren't the same size. Like, I have Ken Follett's, I can't remember, but the first book is Pillars of the Earth, and he recently wrote I don't know if it's the final book in the series, like, I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or a series, but Column of Fire just came out, you know, but, so I had got World Without End, something like that. I got that one in large floppy edition, kind of like my Centuries trilogy edition, But then the first book I ever bought there, Pillars of the Earth, and it was a mass market paperback. So they're different sizes, and I know a lot of people would drive me crazy, and I can understand. But anyway, so I started to get into Robin Hobb, and I had bought the first two books in her Soldier Son trilogy, and I was waiting, you know, and I kept checking, and they hadn't had the first one, so I was gonna, you know, either like, wait until Christmas. Maybe my mom could get it for me then. But then I saw it at the bookstore, the first book, Shaman's Crossing, so I had to jump on that. So I got this as well. And then last but not least, like I said, I got the reason why I was searching for Way of Kings is because they had Words of Radiance at Gibbons bookstore. So I got that one. That could be this big, half of a book. Like, it's huge. And Way of Kings is just as big, if not bigger. Actually, no, this is probably bigger because a lot of times, and most of the time, not always. Like, I think this one is a little bit smaller than the other two. Like, it's probably like the same size as the first one. Maybe smaller, I don't know. But yeah, but most of the time, authors, as they progress in their series and write more books, the next book just gets longer and longer. So, and last, I got, okay, this was one of those books that, like, I remember hearing about on BookTube, and I know that it's not everybody's favorite, a lot of people didn't like it, but I'm going to check it out. Although, I bought the Bronze Horseman from there, that's one of the first books I bought, and I've since changed my mind because I've had it for almost a year now, and I wasn't even sure if I was actually interested. It was one of these ones that I was like, ooh, I hear booktubers talking about that. So I guess that's my way of caving and being one of those people, you know, going in with the hype and everything. So I guess in a way, yeah, I never thought I did do that, but honestly, I do it to an extent. Especially because, you know, hearing about more and more books at BookTube. So, but I do, you know, I was mildly interested in that one. I was somewhat interested. But since my interest has waned, and I decided to officially confirm it by going on Goodreads, and so there were quite a lot of, there are a lot of positive reviews on the Bronze Horseman. Did I say that? I don't know if I said the title or not, but I'm talking about the Bronze Horseman. There were positive reviews, but there were a lot of 2-star and 1-star reviews too. And I know you can't, but they also, and to be fair, they also kind of, I actually still have it up on my computer. But a lot of people, they explain why, you know, that there's too much description of what is going on, and they didn't like the relationship, and, you know, it's just... Now, I don't remember what people said about the Bone season, but I know there were people that said that this book wasn't for them, but I saw this, and like I said, there was a sale at the used bookstore, and plus it's, you know, right, normally this would be like $4 anyway, so that's not too bad. I mean, compared to what I spent today, that's not that bad. And I told, like, my mom asked how much I spent, and I kind of went a little silent, and I was a little hesitant to tell her. And she's like, what, did you spend over 100? Which I didn't. But she knew I was kind of hesitant to reveal how much I spent today. So she knows I probably spent a little too much. The good news, like I said, I'm gonna get paid probably soon, so. And at the moment, I mean, she reminded me that when I pay bills, I'm gonna have to, like, this is, you know, I'm gonna have to pay my bills first before I do purchases like this. But luckily right now, the only thing I have to make sure I do is write my mom a check every month. You know, because I live with them and I'm an adult, and normally people like me will probably be living by themselves by now, or at least living. But, excuse me while I let my dog ask me to go out. Okay, go on. So that's what I've got at the used bookstore. Now let me quickly go through what I got at Books a Million. Okay, so I decided to start soon because I guess, you know, so, and I probably spent more than I should have. So most of these books are, okay, so first, so I kept seeing this book at Books a Million, but I had not gotten Nevernight. And a booktuber that I, you know, and, let's see, what was her name? I can't remember. Piera Ford, I believe it was. I think that's how you say it. I apologize if I said her name wrong. But she is one of those booktubers who's absolutely in love with this series. It is always, associates whenever she hears assassin and all that kind of stuff. She always associates, or hears the name Mia, she also associates it with Nevernight. So I finally, and she asked me how great it is. And I've heard in the past that it's like what Nevernight is what people would have wanted in Throne of Glass. Like, in Throne of Glass, in all honesty, yes, I am one of the people who's fans of Sarah J. Maas, but, she doesn't, a lot of people criticize the fact that the main character, Selena, doesn't really kill people. She doesn't assassinate anyone. In fact, she's against, I think, because she's working for the Tyrant King, she's against the idea of killing people, which, nothing wrong with, you can't blame her. But a lot of people say that they want to read, when they're reading a book where the main character is an assassin, they want her to assassinate people. So finally I got it, and I kept seeing this one at the bookstore. So I ordered Nevernight, and then finally I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get this one, because I'll probably like Nevernight anyway. And, I feel like the next book is going to come out, and God's Grave's not going to be there anymore, because this Books A Million, it's a small it's a small store. So a lot of times they don't always have all the books in the series. They don't always get all the books in the series. They might get the most recent ones, but they don't always get the one before it. So if you're new to the series, then, you might not get it at this particular Books A Million. So finally I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and buy it, because it's probably a good idea that I buy it now. So I bought God's Grave, and I get why people would be bothered by the footnotes, but the footnotes don't bother me. The writing style is a little different. It's a little confusing, but, I think I just need to have some time to take the time to get into the book first. So yeah, this is the second one. So I'll get on that. Okay, next. This was so awesome. This was a book I had been debating about. The problem this is a book I've been debating about getting. And, and of course, how hard with most, like, in the U.S., they come out with the hardcovers first, which are really expensive, like $20 to $30. Well, I saw this, and I was like, I think I might get it. I might put it back and not get it. But then I realized, I guess I got it from the bargain section, because it was $5.97. So I was like, oh my god, I gotta jump on that, because, especially since it's the hardback edition. It's not fancy. I don't know if they ever came out with a fancier edition with pictures and stuff in it, but yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get this, because it's like. And I do really love Marissa Meyer. So that means the only thing I have to get, Archenemies, being the next book, is coming out in this. I don't know if it's already out yet. And I gotta get Wires and Nerves graphic novel. I still haven't gotten to that yet. But yeah, so that's another one to add to my Marissa Meyer collection. And last but not least, so Elliot Brooks is a booktuber that I was watching quite a bit this weekend, mostly yesterday. And she's the one who told about Brandon Sanderson and his Cosmere universe and the order of the books you need to read them in, the order she recommends you read the books in. And I know this is one of her all-time favorite series, the Witcher series, which is also a video game. So I saw a handful of these at Books A Million, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and check this out. So I bought it. I was hoping it wasn't that expensive, but it is a bit. It was a bit pricey. It was like $16, but still, it's, I definitely am trying to get more into fantasy. And luckily, okay, so this is the first one. So the next one is Sword of Destiny, Blood of Elves, Time and Contempt of Contempt, Baptism of Fire, Tower of Swallows, and The Lady of the Lake. So, yeah, I'm gonna get to this one. So I'm gonna check out this one. So who knows? I might ask for the next one for Christmas. And then, last but not least, this is another one I saw on Elliot Brooks' shelf when I looked because like me, she sits in front of her bookshelf. And I saw this one. Oh, okay. So I thought I did buy it, but no, that was one of the ones I put back. So I almost bought Empire of not of Storms. That's the Throne of Glass book. Rise of Empire. I almost bought that one, but then I had to put books back, so I chose to put that one back. And these are the ones I just showed you. And I got this. This is also a series. I think it might be a quartet or a trilogy or something. Let's see. Let me see if there's a list. Oh, well, at the time, this one was the only one out, but I know that she's ruined. There's like, I don't know if the author, I don't know if he, I think he has 2 more books out. I saw Ruin, and I think on Elliot Brooks' shelf I saw a 3rd one. So I think there's a 3rd one as well. But as you can see, I'm kind of trying to get even more into fantasy, especially adult fantasy. Because I read a lot, I read a lot of YA. I'm one of those people that still read YA. See, hence books like Renegades. So yeah, but I'm definitely, and today is one of those days where I don't feel like, I mean, I wish I got Rise of Empire, but, I'm not, I'm okay with that. I'm okay that I didn't get it. So. And I almost bought Crazy Rich Asians, too, but I ended up not getting that either. But it's okay, it's all good. I'm not bothered, This isn't one of those times where I am having second thoughts and be like, I need to go back, like, now. That's what I did. Actually, that's what happened when Terry was here. Like, I tried to limit myself to only a couple books, and then I was like, I need to buy the other books. I was like, Terry, let's just go back. And we did get some other shopping in that day, I believe, so. Anyway, so that's what I've accumulated. So I guess it's kind of a book haul. If you guys liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have not read it already, please click subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And much love to my already subscribed people. I hope you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!